there's three kinds of people in this world: the haves, the have-nots, and the haves a little, or as I like to call them, the people that think they have. What I want to get across is that our main problem is not the haves. It's the people that think they haves. It's the people that cling to this idea that capital ownership is going to work for them. You know them, they exist in your daily life. You might be one of them yourself, maybe to a lesser extent than some other people, but as long as you exist, there is something you're clinging to, something you're attached to, something that you are not willing to live without, and you're afraid to take action, and you're afraid to think outside of your spectrum because you're afraid of losing that thing. Whether that be your good job, or your house, your family, your ego, that idea that you're this good person, and your reputation. You're afraid of losing all of that, but none of that means shit, because all of that can be taken away from you tomorrow, and the rich know this. This is why the super rich are selfish, egomaniacal, evil. They're just twisted and sadistic. They have to be. The rich live by the philosophy, when do we sleep? Because they can't afford to sleep, because if they sleep, someone else is going to take it, whether it be the poor masses that are sick of working for nothing, or whether it be another rich person who could use those resources better than them. The poor live by the philosophy, when do we eat? Because they don't have time to eat, because they're busy working, they don't have food on their table, they don't have anything. So their entire lives exist to find methods of obtaining food, metaphorically speaking. So, which one do you fall under? Are you afraid to sleep to lose what little you have? Or are you afraid to never have time to eat, never enjoy life, and just be stuck in this rut of working a dead-end job for some asshole that doesn't care about you? You need to come to that conclusion, and then you tell me that I am wrong for being against forum moderators. Because you know what? Forum moderators is like a private sewage company telling me I cannot do my bodily functions. Let's say you're using the bathroom. You take a big shit, you had Mexican food or something, I don't know, and you go to flush the toilet, and it doesn't flush. So you call the water company because you figure, hey, why isn't my toilet flushing? I pay my water bill on time, etc. And they give you some spiel about how, for whatever reason, they don't like you. Maybe you went to some kind of meeting with them and they didn't like the way you carried yourself. They just decided to cut you off. They cut you off your water because they wanted. They felt like it. That's their right to do as the property owner. So now you're without water and you can't flush your toilet. You got this bundle of turds hanging in your toilet and there's nothing you can do about it. You can't take a shower. You can't do anything. So what do you do? What time do you have to eat, metaphorically? What time do you have to do anything when at a snap of the fingers the water company can just cut you off because they want to, because they're the capital owners and you have to respect their right to property? Think about that. That could happen to you. That's a possibility, especially if you consent to it and give this suggestion that it's okay to do that. So they're going to do it to you anyway, but they're only going to get more leverage by you allowing them to do it. So you need to seriously consider whose side you're on, because I'm not the one that can cut off your water. They are. The moderators can cut you off from society. They can cut you off from sharing your ideas and interacting with other people and reading up on the news. I can't. I don't have that power. I don't have that sort of leverage. I don't own shit. So stop worrying about me. Stop worrying about my opinion. Stop worrying about how you think I'm crazy like some of these members do because of the way I carry myself, my demeanor. Worry about the people that can fuck you over. Worry about the people that are willing to fuck you over and for whatever reason just have not decided to do it yet. So you think about that big smelly turd floating in your toilet, rotting, the stench building up, because that could be your life at any moment. There's nothing stopping them. You have to stop them. You have to be willing to say, I have a right to water, especially when I pay for it. So you're going to give it to me, or else. That's how you have to be in life. And you shouldn't even have to pay for the water. But, you know, you fight one battle at a time. You gotta pick your battles. I understand that. It's like with the internet. I shouldn't have to pay for internet. It has become an essential part of the first world nations. It's become an essential part to living. If you want to order online, if you want to apply for jobs, if you want to do pretty much any basic function, you need the internet. So to say that I don't have a right to accessibility on the internet is to suggest I don't have a right to remove my bowels and take a healthy dump and flush the toilet. It is the same thing. And I don't care what excuse the moderators have. I don't care what excuse the water company has. I don't care what excuse anybody has. That is my right. Because it is a basic human function. And until you're willing to suggest that it isn't a human function, when you can hold in your feces, or you're willing to hide in the bushes and take a shit and wipe your ass with leaves and risk getting arrested for public indecency or some shit like that, you need to shut up and accept the fact that this is part of society and it's a basic right as a civilized, law-abiding citizen. As a human being, as someone that functions within the social circle, I have a right to these things. And I'm going to get them. So that's all I need to say about that. The problem is the middle class. The problem is the people that are not willing to see this because they are clinging to whatever little shred of, you know, things they have, whatever little bit of property they own, whatever little concept of success and building up their lives they think they're getting up to. These are the people that are the problem, because they're the ones most irrational and unwilling to compromise. These kinds of people are arrogant, they're stupid, they're well conditioned, and they're just useless. Because, you know, it would be like me going to a restaurant, and stuff like this has happened before, where I order, let's say I order a chicken omelet. And I say, I don't want the chicken mixed in with the omelet, I want the chicken on the side, because I like to have my chunky chicken by itself to eat and my omelet separate, you know? And the waiter gets all bent out of shape because it's different. It's not like it's an entirely different food, it's not a different amount. I'm not asking for something special. I'm only asking that you take the same thing, the same number 6 order, and just move the food to the side. That's it. You don't have to put in anything else. You don't have to cook it a different way. You just put the chicken to the side. How hard is that? But the middle class, like the waiter, can't comprehend anything that he wasn't embedded with. If he was not, you know, conditioned and taught and brainwashed into thinking that way, he won't, under any circumstance. Doesn't matter what it costs him. So it's impossible for him to ever conceive the idea that it can be the same thing, just a little variation. Because I'm not saying that people can't have websites. I am not suggesting that we have to get rid of 4chan and Facebook and TV tropes and things like that. I am just saying you don't have a right to ban people. If anything, that would make these sites better, because then the substance could continue. It wouldn't be a circle jerk. It wouldn't be this artificial environment where one person gets to dictate everybody else, and they have to figure out some other website to go to, somewhere else to interact with, because of one little asshole. And these sites would actually benefit from that because they would be more successful, because people could actually go there. And they wouldn't have to, you know, build new websites or all this other bullshit. And it's not like the average person can build their own website. If it was that easy, everybody would be doing it. But there's a reason Facebook monopolized the social network market. market. There's a reason 4chan monopolizes the image board market. There's a reason there's only a few select websites that people actually remember and go to on a regular basis. Because if everybody could be doing it, you don't think they would be? So, you're fucking stupid if you don't see this. That waiter is stupid. And he was conditioned to be stupid. So, that's what it's like. You know, I'm not suggesting it be a different entree. I'm suggesting just put it to the side. Put your ego, put your, psychotic babblings about my property and all this other bullshit to the side. It is unnecessary. You don't own shit. And even if you do own shit, it doesn't entitle you to treat people like that. So, put it to the side. And it's the same fucking order. It's the same website. It's the same content. It's the same basic function. Just put your right to stomp on other people's rights to the side. But no, they can't understand that. So then they go to the manager. And let's say the manager is like the court system. Because, they go to him and they argue that I'm being a troublemaker, of course, because how dare I ask for something that I'm ordering and I'm paying for and I want, and, it's not in this specific corridor line. So they go to the manager and they argue with me, and I'm telling them, what is wrong here? Why can't I get my food? So, then they expect me to pay more for 2 separate orders when it's the same fucking order as the omelet. And it's just the chickens to the side. So, you gotta be willing to argue. You gotta be willing to get exhausted and fight this battle. Or else you will never have anything in life. For people that want to cling to what they have, you never seem to be willing to go a little further to get. And so, am I willing to pay like $5 for what should be a $1.50 meal? No. So, I'm arguing back and forth, and I'm setting the standard straight that I'm not willing to pay $5 for what should have been $1.50, because it's the same amount, it's the same food, I just wanted it a little different. And if I don't get it for $1.50, I'm not going to pay it at all, and I'm not going to leave a tip for that shithead waiter. So I am setting the rules that I live by, not you. And you don't have to follow them. They just don't get paid. Now, mind you, this is what supposedly forums say, where, if you don't agree by rules, you'll get banned. Well, what choice do I have? Either I get banned or I don't go there. That's not a choice. But this restaurant has a choice, because guess what? They will still be a restaurant, with or without me. They don't need my $1.50. But where else do I have to go on the internet? If every single place bans me, where do I have to go? So, yes, if every single person refused to pay for their restaurant services, they'd go out of business, they'd all be out of a job, but that's not going to happen. That's not realistic. But if every restaurant bans me, which is far more realistic, because there are fewer capital owners than expendable workers, and these capital owners can and a lot of times do lock you out of their building, that leaves me with less options. They don't have lesser options just because I'm unwilling to pay. That just means I got a meal for free. So, I'm telling them, I'm not going to pay you shit unless you pay me that $1.50. You can either have my $1.50 or nothing at all. And, they hem and they haw, but eventually they cave, because it's true. It's the same amount. I'm willing to pay the $1.50. I'm not willing to pay the $5. And if that waiter wants a fucking tip at all, he's going to comply and stop being a little bitch about it. So that's the way you have to be with forums. That's the way you have to be with the internet, or else it'll never be ours. We pay for internet. We browse internet websites. We are the consumer. We consume goods. We are the reason there is job production. There is only, competitive production. There is only anything in this world. For us, we are the capitalists, not them. They might be the capital owners, but we are the production. We are the factory. We produce all this shit by complying to it, by obeying the rules, and by going along with it and working. So why aren't you demanding more? You're the employer, not them. The employer is a collective entity. Society is only this first world industrious dynamic because everybody is going along with it. Those capital owners can't do shit without your complacency. So you need to start asking for more. You need to start demanding more. And I am telling you, I have a right to post where I want to post. Because if it wasn't for members, you wouldn't have a fucking website. You'd be in your little corner in your mom's basement jacking off to cartoon porn or some shit. That's why all the middle-class yahoos that come to my attempt at a social network are spamming pornography like I give a shit. Because that's all they know. That's all they know how to do, is look for pornography. Because they can't think. Because they were never taught how to think. Because society told them that the internet is only for porn and to be an asshole. That's it. They can't imagine actually interacting with other people and talking to them like a human being. They can't imagine, downloading a book and reading an actual book online. They can't imagine listening to new music and being exposed to new sounds and ideas and finding new tastes and expanding their horizon and moving forward and evolving and developing and, all these new experiences and stimulations. They can't imagine all of that. I can. And I'm being denied it because of some little prick that's busy looking at fucking porn and pressing the ban button because that's the only two things he knows and hasn't bothered to learn anything else. He's not in a position to fucking tell me where I can and can't go. If I want to post somewhere, I'm gonna do it. If I have to get on a proxy to do it, I will. If I have to fucking, shut down your website, I will. I will call the police right now and make them do an investigation on you. I will post at your website. I will either pay $1.50 or nothing at all. That is your choice, capital owners. That is your choice, moderators. You don't get a third option. That's all I have to say.